Hi, this is Nicholas Eidolon. You guys probably know me from the various Dungeon Synth groups on Facebook, and this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm hoping to produce called Analog Dungeon. Analog Dungeon was first conceived as a written project, probably as a blog, but I never really put all that together. I got some stuff written down, but I never put together a website or a blog or anything, and it eventually just sort of got put on the back burner. But my goal was to talk about my various collections of media. At this point, I have around 800 Dungeon Synth tapes. I have even more heavy metal cassettes, and I have a pretty sizable collection of vinyl records and VHS tapes. And I just thought it would be cool, not necessarily to review those things, but just talk about albums that I like and movies that I like and why I like them, because I really like to hear other people talk about the things that they like. It's just a nice format. So hopefully people enjoy this. The main prompt for me to do this as a video series, which is not something I had considered before, was Davey of Aerithright Throne fame has put together this huge, massive box of cassettes from Serpent Sword Records for me. So that's Aerithright Throne, Moss Golem, Dungeon Troll, Voslarum, just a ton of releases that he's been dubbing. He has been filling a box for me and has finally shipped that from Canada to the States, and that should be here this week. And Davey put so much work into that, and I'm so thankful that he put this together for me. I can't thank him enough, really. I thought that, you know, it deserves more than just it getting here, me taking a photo of it and putting it on Facebook. So I thought, you know, why don't I do an unboxing video? But I didn't just want to take the tapes out. I want to talk about them. I want to talk about what I like about them. And really give some attention to those releases. So I thought, you know, if I'm going to do that, why don't I make sure I can set up my camera, I can get the lighting right, I can actually do a video, because I've never done one before. So this first one is sort of a test. I'm just recording on an iPhone. I don't really have a camera or anything to do this with. It's mounted to my desk. This is sort of like a Stuart Ashens setup. If anybody watches Ashens on YouTube, I am behind the camera because I don't want my face on camera. I have a cup of tea. But let's see. I think that's pretty much it for an intro. You can probably hear some music behind me. We are listening to Veilstra's Adventures of the Red Whelpling. This tape just came in today from Ancient Meadow Records. In fact, I got a huge package from Ancient Meadow from their last tape release. And I will definitely talk about this and all of those in a different video, because, you know, great stuff from Ancient Meadow. This is definitely my favorite Veilstra's album. Everything Veilstra's puts out is fantastic, but this is definitely my favorite. I'm very glad this got a tape release. It also has a CD release from Castle Wall / Grave Wrought Records. I have that as well. Just a great album. Please go check this out if you haven't. I'll leave a link to this in the comments or description below, wherever this video ends up. Alright, thanks. So the first type I want to talk about, all of these are from Wrought Records. These are 4 recent releases from Wrought Records. The first tape I want to talk about is Naginah's first demo. So Naginah is Josh Pratt, the warrior bard half of Somber Arcane. If you don't know who Somber Arcane is, I don't really know how you found this video. So please go check out Somber Arcane. Josh is the somber half, perhaps, of Somber Arcane. Josh doesn't actually play a synth instrument. Josh is playing, somebody please correct me, I think it's a type of harp. I'm not sure if it's actually a harp, but it seems to be a type of harp in Somber Arcane, where his counterpart, Frantic, plays synths and manipulates the sounds of the harp and pretty much everything else that's going on. There's a lot of sort of technical synth work being done there, coupled with Josh's just raw musical prowess on his instrument. So in this, we are primarily featuring Josh's strings with a sort of simple synth backing. So it's sort of like that Somber Arcane sound, but it's stripped down pretty heavily. I assume Josh is doing the synth work on this as well. There's also some vocalizing on the second track. No lyrics, just some almost mournful wailing on that second track that I think must be Josh as well. Mournful is the right word here. When I didn't listen to this when it came out digitally. I bought the cassette and waited till I got the cassette to actually listen to it. And I'm glad I did. I try to do that whenever possible, especially if I know something's going to be excellent. I don't bother listening to it before grabbing it. And I knew this was going to be excellent. How could it not be? So the first thing I thought when I put this in and hit play is, man, this is just pure melancholy. I thought that, and sure enough, track 3 is literally called Melancholy. So there's definitely a theme of sorrow here. In fact, if you go to the Bandcamp page, you'll see that this is based on the early life of the Naginah character, particularly some tragedy that befell that character. I know it talks about the death of Naginah's parents and how he took up his father's sword and his mother's harp, I believe, and learned to play the harp as an expression of his sadness. So that's some really strong character building behind this music. I really appreciate that. And that's really what you get here, is just this sort of raw, heart-wrenching emotion. Somber Arcane is very emotional music, but it's also very technically proficient music. It's sort of pushing the dungeon synth genre in terms of technicality, in fact. So you get a lot of skill being shown off with Somber Arcane. And there's a lot of skill here too, but my point is that this is very stripped down and consolidated. So you're just getting sort of raw, mainlined emotion from Josh, and he executes it so well. I think my favorite track is going to be the second track, which is Naginah's Lament. It's this just slow, dreary, collapsing in the snow sort of atmosphere. You can sort of feel the passage of time when you listen to it. It really just sells it. You know, it sells that mood. And my first thought on hearing this track was it reminded me, at least in atmosphere, maybe the way the melody is played, it reminded me of The Bones of Baby Dolls by Acid Bath, if anybody's familiar with that track. Pretty cool stuff. And then the third track, Melancholy, is probably the most beautiful composition here. I think it's going to be the most pleasing to most people's ear. Very, very good compositional work from Josh on that one. So, you know, excellent stuff. I can't recommend this enough. So please pick this up, because for some reason it's still in stock at Wrought Records. You really need to go grab this while you can. So the second album that I picked up is Elgra, The Time of Truth and Glory. This is a Russian artist who I first encountered on the Dungeon Lore Foundation Bandcamp page. Dungeon Lore Foundation I don't really know if they're so much of a label as they are a collective of Russian artists. And there are uploads on that Bandcamp page going back to 2013, and I know some of the titles there are even older. For instance, Kane's Child of Cold is available there, and I believe that's a release from 1999. But it's just this huge collective of Russian neoclassical, folk ambient, dungeon synth artists, some of which was there before I think the term dungeon synth was really being thrown around. And it's all very good work. It's a great intro if you're looking to grab a lot of music and really dig into some different styles. And you can get the entire discography on Dungeon Lore Foundation for like $12, which is an insane price for the amount of music you can get. So I would recommend that to anyone, especially if you're just getting into the genre. And this album will be available digitally there as well. There's also another album by this band, by this project rather. What is it called? Night Magic. Yeah, Night Magic. That's another Elgra album that you should really check out. I think that's one of my favorites. This one is about, in theme anyway, it's about the classical world. It's about sort of an age of antiquity, a lot of Roman and Greek iconography in some of these track titles. What's really impressive and memorable about this release is just the sense of exploration and wonder that you get from the music. Track 2, for instance, Children of Olympus, and I know comparing this to video game music might be shunned, but if anybody's familiar with sort of that night music that would play in Elder Scrolls Oblivion, just when you were wandering around Tamriel at night, the intro to track 2 on this album really reminded me of that. But in general, it just sells this sort of sound of the ancient world, sound of everything being new and unexplored. It's a really great release. Really glad that that Wrought Records was able to put this out in tape format. I think you can also get a copy of this from Depressive Illusions. In fact, all of Elgra's work might be available in tape format there, so that's another place you could check out if you want to grab this on tape. Let's see, the third album. Okay, this is Winterfell. This is a raw black metal project out of, let's see, yeah, West Virginia. This is actually 2 EPs from Winterfell: The Real War and Dark Philosophy. And it has a great reversible J card for both of those releases. So that's The Real War and that's Dark Philosophy. I think Dark Philosophy is probably my favorite side of this tape. And if you go to the Bandcamp page for this project, for Winterfell, it's 2 guys. One guy's handling, I believe it actually lists him as handling the guitars and the song titles, and somebody else is doing the production and the drum programming and stuff like that. So this is just really raw, stripped down black metal. There's absolutely no bells and whistles on this, and they say as much in their description. You know, they're going for complete minimalism, simple song structures, very simple instrumentation. They're toying around with a little bit of acoustic work and dungeon synth work, which is represented a little bit here. There's a great hazy, droning noise track as the outro to the Dark Philosophy side of this EP. That's a really cool listen. And And the Dark Philosophy side in general has an almost punk rock feel. It's got this garage band sensibility to it. Pretty cool stuff. And there's, I think, let's see. Yeah, The Real War came out in 2020, and Dark Philosophy was recorded and released in December of 2019. I think they've actually released 3 EPs in 2020. So go check out their Bandcamp page, which I'll also link below. Just some very good exercises in raw black metal there. And then the 4th and final tape is Haunted Realm. This is A Time Before. This also has a really excellent reversible J card. So that's the front that I've got out right now. And then on the other side, you've sort of got this horizontal landscape cover. That's Haunted Realm, A Time Before. This is a really, really great example of winter synth. And I love winter synth. There's just something about that cold, droning sound that you get with winter synth. I live in Alabama. It's very hot most of the year, so you can probably understand why I'd like to at least pretend I'm in a wintry, cold environment. So yeah, there's just these beautiful cold layers of synth on this album. It's very somber, it's very meditative. Track 3, which is called Death of the King, that inside A, in particular, has some excellent plucked strings that almost come out of nowhere. You get through those first 2 tracks, and you're just really in that meditative zone with those long note pads, and then some strings hit you in track 3, and it's just really beautiful. It really elevates the piece. And there's also some percussion, especially on the following track on side A, "Oh Sleeper Awake." At the end of that track, there's this percussion, this drone sound that's very good. This was released in 2019, and they've released 3 albums in 2020 so far. So I immediately went and picked those up, but I haven't given those a listen yet. I may have misspoken earlier about Winterfell being the one that released 3 albums in 2020. Maybe that was Haunted Realm. I'll have to go back and check that out. But nonetheless, go check out Winterfell as well. So that's all for this first episode. Let me know what you think about the format. I'm thinking what's probably going to work best for me is, as I get tapes, either 3 or 4 tapes from a label, or maybe 3 or 4 tapes within a week from different artists, I could sort of put those together and just talk about them for 15 minutes. I think this is probably run. And then I could also go back through my collection. I don't know in what order I would go through the collection, but I could go back through it and just, pull some tapes out at random, or pull some tapes out that sort of go together and talk about them. Let me know if you've got any requests. Like I said, I've got a huge collection. But I'll try to put some more videos together, and Davey's video should be coming soon. So, if you made it to the end, thank you. I really appreciate it. Bye.